Was smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. And if anybody is curious, right, for my new subscribers, that's curious, like, why do you always like, what's up with you and dragons? You know, well, where should I start? Dragons to me, it represents they represent flying high and just that passion, that fire element. Dragons exist on pretty much almost any culture around the world in the mythology, and they come in all shapes and sizes, and they just to me when I think of dragon, I think of just strength. When I think of just I know in a lot of mythology, slaying the beast, the dragon was always looked at as a monster, but nah, I think of just a very determined energy, that can't be stopped. So yeah, me reacting to Beau of the fifth column, to me, he got that dragon energy, which is needed today, with so much going on in the times we live in, of just being fearless. And no matter what, when people try to put you down, you always get up and you spread your wings and you fly high and you bring that smoke when it is needed, right? Divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. With that being said, let's talk about Richmond, north of Richmond. And to be honest, guys, when I upload this, I'm gonna go ahead and just give Beau his own playlist on my channel. Yeah, so he deserves it. So here we go.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So today we are going to talk about somebody that I haven't talked about, but y'all been asking me to. For the last, I don't know, 10, 12 days, I've probably gotten a dozen messages a day to talk about a specific person. And I didn't ignore it, but I didn't make a video about it, and you're about to find out why. But things have changed. Something I expected to happen has occurred. Not exactly in the way I thought it was going to, but we're here. So we're going to talk about Oliver Anthony today. If you don't know who that is, he's a person who's been making music for a couple of years. And recently, one of his songs, the Richmond, North of Richmond, it clicked. It resonated with a bunch of people. But the authoritarian right picked it up and was like, this is our anthem type of thing. And that led to a whole bunch of conversation about the guy, about the music, about the lyrics, everything. And this is when the messages started coming in. When they came in, I looked into him a little bit. One of the things I found out is that some of his earlier covers and music led me to believe that, well, he might not be authoritarian right. That might not be who he is. And then I found something where he code switched. He used a customer service voice.
He said he used a customer service voice. Now, let me just stop this here and say I have reacted to Oliver Anthony, Richmond, north of Richmond. I definitely did enjoy the song. Man, so this is a surprise. Let's see what else he got to say.
Dropped his accent a little bit. And if you don't know, there are demographics all around the country that at times will alter the way they speak, because the way they speak, the perception is that you're ignorant based on your accent or just the way you speak in general. A lot of people, if they are concerned about their message being understood, well, they learn how to speak without that accent. And for some people, they might go years in their professional life downplaying their accent, using a non-regional accent, so they can be more clearly understood and so they don't get mistaken for an extra from Justified. If you don't know that phenomenon exists, it does. And the fact that it does is one of the reasons this channel exists. But here's the thing about people who do that. They're never authoritarian right. ever. The authoritarian right, now they lean into the accent. They don't downplay it when they're speaking in public, they play it up. Why? Because
Now I did see someone comment and basically said that Oliver Anthony was more of like in the middle, more of in the middle. So I definitely did see someone say that. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
it gives them credibility amongst us ignorant country bumpkins, I guess. So when I saw that, I didn't know what his politics were. He may not be on my team, but I knew he wasn't on the team of the people who were saying that, he had created their anthem.
Gotcha.
So as far as I was concerned, not my business. Get your iTunes money, dude. I also figured that anybody who was concerned about their message getting out and being understood, seeing their message misappropriated, would eventually grate, iTunes money or not. And I figured that something would happen and it would bother him. And eventually he would release a song clarifying where he was at politically. Okay, I was wrong about that. Not about the whole it starting to grate, but about him releasing a song. Apparently, it appears that the catalyst was seeing his message be misappropriated in the Republican primary debates. And he didn't release a song, but about an hour ago, at time of filming, he released a video on YouTube in which he kind of says, hey, I wrote that song about the people on that stage. He's much more polite about it in tone. And he does clarify that it's not just the people on the stage. There's more to it than that. But it does appear that he wants it clear that he is not part of the authoritarian right. That leads to the obvious question. Well, I mean, for the people who are watching this channel, what is he, right? I don't know. I have no idea.
Reminds me of people that in the comments, somebody in the comment was like, "Wait, so do you support Trump or do you not?" I like to look at myself as just a student who just shuts up, listens, observes, and when it's time for me to speak on certain things, when it's time for me to, if that time comes where my voice is truly needed in certain situations, then I'll speak. But I'm not going to be able to speak appropriately if I don't listen. You get what I'm saying? If I don't listen, if I don't observe. So right now, I like to look at myself as just someone who's in class, and just trying to watch everybody without without making like quick decisions of okay, I'm supporting, just kind of looking at who's doing what and hearing everybody out and reacting to it, and just I'm not it's like people kind of make you want to make you just make this quick decision like, okay, so are you this or are you that? Right now, all I'm gonna say for me personally, I'm a student and I'm going what makes sense.
My guess, if I had to guess, and to be clear, I don't know the guy. I know that there is a perception in a lot of YouTube that, every YouTuber who sounds like we do knows each other. That's not the case. I don't know this guy. But if I had to guess, he's a small government conservative. We talk about him on the channel, and most people from the city are like, those people don't really exist. No, they do. They're just normally very rural, and there's not a lot of them anymore. But that's, if I had to guess, and again, to clarify, it is a guess. That's what he is. And I know there's been a lot of conversation about some of the lyrics, particularly a part about welfare. I have been around enough small government conservatives to hear that not as welfare is bad, but the system that welfare creates in the sense of helping people isn't bad, but creating a system that makes it almost impossible.
Yeah, a system that's once you get dependent, then that's bad. Once you get, what they say, tough times make strong men, and easy times make weak men. And when you make someone dependent, you make them weak. You make them weak, and then you have control. So that's the problem there.
Possible to get off is. And that's generally where small government conservatives come from on it. Now, I don't know that that's his opinion of it, though. One thing that I do think is worth noting when you try to figure out where he is at, politically speaking, ideologically speaking, is that in one interview, he was talking about what it would take to fix the country. And one of the things he mentioned, and it might have been the first thing that he mentioned, was becoming a melting pot again, because diversity is one of the things that built this country.
I'm okay. So how I feel about that? Dang, I'm sweating bullets. I'm sweating bullets right now. How I feel about that is, see, I guess it just depends where you're from. Because I thought we was and from my perspective, I didn't see how that melting pot went away. Like I didn't. It still looks like the big melting pot to me. But also, I'm from the Northeast. Even though he's from like what was it like? Oh yeah, Richmond. Like so, yeah, he's from. But I don't know. I don't know if he's from maybe from a small town where he doesn't really. And it's different. Like I just heard someone break down something about hillbillies. I'm gonna put it at the end of this video, and pretty much he was saying that you know, so-called Africans and Scottish and English, they were in those mountains, creating the medicine, sharing herbalism and things like that. And long story short, he was really pretty much saying that's where that culture of hillbilly came from. But I gotta put it at the end of this video. He broke it down. So maybe Oliver Anthony has a different not a different has more knowledge of history than me, and probably sees things differently. Maybe he knows more about stuff like that and things that's now gone, and maybe that's more so what he's saying when he says a melting pot. But as far as the working class, I mean, we still out here, we everywhere, everybody, you go to a job right now, you're gonna see, pretty much all types of people. So I don't know. I guess I just don't understand that statement as much from Oliver Anthony. I would have to, I guess, have more context or something because I just don't see how America just isn't still a melting pot.
Definitely not authoritarian right. So, I don't know where the guy aligns. Okay, no clue.
Which makes sense why I seen that comment where someone said it's like he's middle, and it's kind of hard in the times we live in for people to really figure people out when people aren't identifying with something. Um, it's hard, Like I said, I get that on my channel where people commenting like they're trying to figure out like what are you, and I'm gonna just continue to keep saying I'm a student. I'm a student. Simple. I'm a student. Like that's all That's the only answer y'all gonna get. I'm a student.
He seems to be pretty religious. That may play into it. It'd be super cool if it was, biblical Jesus, not Republican Jesus, that he leaned into. But we'll have to wait and see. I doubt that this is going to be the last we hear from this dude. And I have a feeling like a whole lot of the people who have been really kind of championing him and putting him out there, they're probably about to turn on him. But
I like people like Beau because people like Beau, he analyzes things. He reads between the lines. He sees what's coming. He's good at predictions because he does the work. Like he's the type of person before he speaks, he makes sure he did his research and he knows what he's speaking about. I like people like that. He's a chess player. He's a thinker, and he man, he's one of them people when things do happen, people go back and they look at this video and be like, "Damn, Beau, damn, how did you see that coming? And then you're gonna have to go back and watch my reaction or watch his video to how to predict the future, and he'll tell you how he gets this knowledge and he's able to predict these things.
At the same time, I don't think he cares. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, I have no idea what the guy's ideology is. I know that it was misinterpreted, and I know that he is not authoritarian right. I have no idea where he is, though. But he did not seem happy about the way his music was used. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality.
How beautiful would it be? Now, this is coming from the student speaking. I'm not someone who thinks I know it all, not someone who trying to know it all. Honestly, the more I know, the less I know, right? So, but from the student, how I feel, now I'm going to put my spin on it, is how beautiful would it be if everybody just actually came together? You know, how beautiful would it be? I mean, I know it sounds like a something out of a movie or something, but how beautiful would it be if most people just kind of started to come together, right? There's just so much division on this land, so much division, so much division. You know, but it just blows my mind. But it would be nice to see people come together and we figure out what's going on with like these missing children and missing people, and you know, we kind of just start to have each other's backs a little more. There's a lot of psychopaths going on, psychopathic behaviors being pushed. Last year, I was super surprised by my generation. I'm 30 years old now. I was born in 1993, so my generation surprised me last year when all that stuff about Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, was going viral and all that. And I've seen so much people making excuses for that behavior, and it's like that type of mindset. It desensitizes the people. It's desensitizing the generations. You know, it's like the music. There's so much stuff. It's desensitizing people to a point of like this narcissistic, psychopathic, emotionless, robotic like mentality, man. So I would like to see distill the good people, whatever you are, whatever you identify as. I would just like to see the people come together. But it is what it is, right? So with that being said, though, I'm gonna play that video at the end I was talking about, with the guy speaking about the you know, the history of like hillbilly and things like that, because that's real important. Maybe when he was speaking about melting pot, he had something else in mind that was in that, you know, that he was talking about or referring to, that could be something like that. Because I know Oliver Anthony, he's probably from I don't know, he's from somewhere out there, right? That's country, or maybe in the hills or the mountains, I don't know. But maybe he's referring to something a little deeper, is what I'm trying to say, when he talks about a melting pot again, right? So, yeah, I'm sweating bullets, and I will be back with more soon. Stay tuned for this video coming up right now.
So when you're a redneck on the internet talking about real redneck shit, inevitably this comment ends up coming up. So let's talk about hillbillies and Appalachia's best kept secret. That means this needs to come with a content warning, because we're going to be talking about old school systemic racism. All of the really fucked up shit that they did back in the day, they did them out in our woods too. Also, there's a lot of history here, and it's not going to fit in a 3-minute video. So this is going to be an oversimplification of what happened, and there might even be a part 2. So the first people to be called hillbillies was a whole bunch of mixed communities that lived in the Appalachians. They were the result of Scots-Irish immigrants, freed black people, and indigenous folks all mixing together and coexisting. These folks were called the Melungeons. You like bluegrass music? It came from these folks. You like biscuits and gravy? It came from these folks. They also created the dialect that we call mountain talk today. You ever wonder why Appalachian accents sound a lot like Irish mixed with African American vernacular English? Because it is. Now, after the Civil War and during Reconstruction, the boys in cotton sheets decided they were going to start riding around trying to suppress the black votes anywhere they could. Well, these people realized the kind of threat these guys posed, so they began setting up impromptu community defense crews. Picture that, huh? Whole bunch of mixed kids out in these hills with their folding chairs and twisted tees just waiting for these motherfuckers to fuck around so they can find out. So after a whole bunch of racists got themselves bushwhacked, the white supremacists that were in charge of all that shit started a propaganda campaign against all them scary-ass hillbillies, telling everybody that they were sneaking into white houses and stealing their babies and shit. Now, I know what you're thinking. These people sound fucking badass. How come I've never heard of them? Well, two things happened right around the same time. The northern industrialists found out there's coal in them there hills, and they came down and started buying up a lot of these folks' properties for pennies on the dollar, most of which didn't know that they had black gold sitting under their feet. And so these folks ended up scattering across the countryside. That makes it hard to trace back who these folks are. Doubly so when you factor in this piece of shit. If you're from Virginia, you already know this guy's name. You ever heard of the one-drop rule? It was this motherfucker. Thousands of people were sterilized, had their babies taken away from them, and had their genealogies erased because this motherfucker was scared of mixed kids. Meanwhile, their buddies in Hollywood started making movies about these hillbillies and presenting them all as being inbred, ignorant, racist, violent people that would kill you as soon as look at you if you ever set foot in their hill. So in memory of the ones we lost and in solidarity with the hillbillies all over Appalachia, Redneck Delegation would like to make it very clear. If you're still one of the folks that made it to 2023 thinking there is such a thing as the white race, stay the fuck out of our woods and stay the fuck out of our hills.